Hey guys, it's Teddy and you're watching The Crypto Future. So the degen gang reached out to me. They're like, hey, there's a YouTube live from Chad Reddings. There's a guy, Just Moonshot, talking there. He's a TARP guy. You need to get in there and tell them about AWS. I guess Moonshot has AWS experience. He gave his take on what happened with Saitamask and what he believes to be true. Unfortunately, I did not believe the same things as him. So I listened to him a little bit on the YouTube live stream. I messaged him like, "Hey, I want to debate this guy, just so he understands where I'm coming from." He was very willing to talk to me. Chad Reddings got me on the stream, and we had a great conversation. I was able to get Moonshot to agree with the points that I made. Initially, it was like, nope, nope, no, and then I was like, "Hey, okay, let's make factual understanding." So I presented him what I knew about AWS. And I asked him, do you agree up to these points? And as we got through each layer, it's pretty obvious. He's like, yep, now I agree. Now this makes sense. Great conversation. Respect to both of you. And yeah, enjoy the stream.
Oh, I think I can add him this way. Here we go. There we go. I think it's calling him.
There, now you have him.
Hello.
Hello.
Owen, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. What's going on?
Gotcha.
Hey, how's it going, Moonshot? I was just listening to you on Chad Reddings' live stream here, and I was saying like, hey, you're bringing up some good points, and I really want to also ask you some questions and just understand where your interpretation of what you were saying regarding AWS was coming from. I didn't completely hear the full speculation or the full understanding of what you have. Can you just kind of give me a brief background on what you were saying, please?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. So basically, one of the things that was said recently was that this entire problem was caused by the dev team not having the email server set up properly, so that it was causing a backlog on the server that would have eventually crashed the server, and that Amazon actually disabled their account. And in this case, just from my personal experience in AWS, in dedicated servers, period, is that Amazon is not going to disable your account, not on an email basis. When you pay for their service, at the end of the day, okay, it is a shared network of multiple servers. That's what cloud is. We all know that. But the reality is when you pay AWS for that service, they let you do everything within the limits of what they feel is legal, if you would. Right. So if the mail server had crashed, right now, and a mail server crashing is kind of like different than a server crashing, but the mail server, let's say the mail server crashes, the mail part of the server crashes. You have 4 servers all load balancing the same thing. So in that case, it would have had to be, what would it take now? We're talking probably an email that's less than 15 kilobytes total. Probably 30, 40 million emails total to take down 4 servers. I think I'm pretty close on that. Just, I'm a little behind just because my last big dive into AWS up until just recently has been a couple years ago. So obviously servers have changed. The hardware's changed a little bit, and that obviously the infrastructure has gone stronger. But the reality is that AWS wouldn't have blocked their account at that point. They would have let the server crash. Saitama would have just contacted them and say, hey, we kind of messed up. Can you reboot our servers into a safe mode so that we can go in, make those small changes, and then boot it back up? That didn't happen. What was happening was they were getting DDoS attacked. There was 30 million call requests to the API itself per second, every single second. And that was a sustained attack over, I think it's over 3 days now, which is crazy.
All right. So very valid points. I would say in any given situation, if we're talking about a mail server that is on-prem, then definitely what you're saying is legitimate. This is the issue. I am an AWS consultant. My background comes from just cloud computing. I do hybrid cloud. I do AWS. I do Google Cloud. I do Azure. I've literally been in multiple cloud environments. Every single cloud environment offers an email service. For AWS, it's called AWS SES, Simple Email Service, right? So Simple Email Service has two modes. There is a production mode and there is a test mode. Before you go live, and even when you start your AWS account, with AWS SES, you are in a test mode, which means you can only add like a maximum of 5 emails onto it to test. You can only send so many emails. And when you're ready to go live, like Saitama was 7 days ago now, you would have been telling Amazon, hey, I need to flip the email server to production mode. And this is about how many emails I anticipate about sending at a time. Do you agree with that?
I agree with that in some senses, although I do not believe that is the way they had it set up.
Okay, I think that is a fair assumption.
The only reason why I'm saying that is number one, the AWS servers were used in the beta testing, and there was a lot of people using the beta testing. There was actually more than we had accounted for, or what was originally going to be counted for, because all the devs, all their family members, plus all the community members that got brought on.
Okay. Fair point. How many concurrent hits do you think it would have been to the email server during beta test?
Through beta, considering we had to go through it like 3, 4, 5 times, there probably could have been, like, in and out, we would probably, there would have been a few thousand.
Okay, this is valid. I mean, I literally, my background comes from building enterprise applications. Like, I'm talking concurrent users of 500,000 to 3 million users at a time. I have almost 12 applications I've built like this. When we're talking 1,000 to 2,000 concurrent users to Amazon, that is nothing during a beta test.
Yeah, no,
the real question is, like, did they do a performance test? Because when you do a performance test, you can spin up 300,000 concurrent agents, and you would realize there is a choke point in your architecture. There is a choke point because when you use API gateway and you're using Amazon SES and calling it directly without an SQS layer, your choke point is SES. And as you said, there is a difference between the email server and the server used to host the API gateway. The email server is that choke point, and they were brought down. Amazon's flag went up, their firewall went, hey, there is now 300,000 concurrent users trying to hit the email, and they would shut that service down. They wouldn't shut the account down, and now they have a problem. They can't have registered users because the emails aren't coming out. So what do you do at this point, knowing that Amazon customer service won't probably come back after the first business day on Monday? You now have 2 days to kill, and you have to come up with some type of thing to make sure your investors don't leave, right?
See, and that's where I kind of disagree too. Let's say they were using SES and that was the case.
Wait, so you're assuming they're not using SES? You think they have an on-prem email server?
I'd be guessing so. Like, and here's the thing, we're all speculating at this point, right? Let's just make it clear. We don't know exactly how they've set it up at this point. That's something that, number one, I'm not going to bug Max over at this current time. I do have a good line of communication with him, so I'm not going to bug him about that. That said, if it was something like that, like what you're saying with the SES, you would definitely get Max coming out and saying, yeah, we kind of made a mistake. Max is not afraid to step up and say, I made a mistake, ever.
Absolutely. And that is that transparency I like about Saitama. And that's why I'm a continued investor in Saitama. I want Saitama to succeed. I hold Saitama. And regardless of whether Max admits it or not, this is a choke point in the AWS architecture. This is an issue. And the reason it's validated is yesterday's AMA, cryptologist came out and he said this was the layer where they had to bring in another AWS service. They went and they got consulting, and they flat out told us that email was a choke point, which validates that, one, they probably were using AWS SES. There's no way anyone in this modern day, when you're in the crypto world, you're using an on-prem server. To go to AWS cloud and then have servers that are on-prem, especially in crypto, seems so like juvenile that I just can't see them doing that. And if that's what you're saying is that valid point, fine. I can agree that maybe that was the issue. But with this, my assumption is, and it is assumption, it is speculation, but from my experience and what I know about AWS and my background, I believe that AWS SES was their choke point. They got hit, they weren't able to send emails out, and they had to do a region-based rollout because Amazon's rating in SES, as soon as it is affected, you drop down to 60%. You now sent out 100,000 something emails that were bad and bounced. Your rating is affected on the SES layer, and you have to rebuild that rating. How do you do that? You know, you do a phased rollout. You slowly get the emails to be positive again. Now you're building your reputation back, and you can send emails out. Now that the emails are coming out, you make sure, you know, that you're not overwhelming that server layer, as you said. And when it comes to cloud, you really need that SQS layer.
See, I would agree with that up to a point, except for the one thing that I think Skye missed is that the API stopped calling altogether, like within the first minute. So the
Wait,
API,
why do you say that?
So the API, we had people who were watching it. The API completely network failed right off the top.
You saw a 404 coming back from AWS, you're saying?
We didn't see a 404, but we do know that the API was not responding to any calls.
So if the API is not responding to a call, that means the backend layer was not able to understand the response that the servers were returning back. Do you agree there?
Well, I think what was happening is that there was so much flooding in. Like I said, there are logs of the 30 million requests. At the end of the day, 30 million requests is that you can't stack that all up to email.
Okay, 30 million requests come in. API gateway is smart enough, is scalable enough to ramp up to 30 million requests. Do you agree with me there, or do you not?
I know that it's scalable up to that. It's whether their package was set up to be scaled.
Okay, fair enough. And now let's assume that they did turn on throttling, which is a service that exists in AWS API Gateway. You can turn on throttling. You can have 1,000 concurrent requests. That number can be increased if you make another request to AWS or Amazon customer service. You can increase that number and have even more concurrent requests, right? So now API Gateway can take in all this influx of incoming requests. Where would the choke point be once API Gateway is able to handle it?
Well, I think once the API Gateway did end up coming back up online, we did see it come back up online because the errors in the app itself actually changed.
Thank you. I mean, like, come on, man. Like, that's exactly what happened. The serverless architecture, there is a ramp up mode. And okay, 30 million requests came in. Maybe it takes 20 minutes to ramp up to handle that 30 million requests, but API Gateway will handle those requests. Your next choke point after API Gateway during a registration is probably email service or saving to the database. You have a choke point on the database layer as well. These are the two areas that in an architecture, I would say, are the most valid choke points. Do you agree with me there?
Oh, absolutely. Databases can be a huge choke point. Absolutely massive.
And we know that they're not saving data. And this is the thing, guys. CertiK audit is guaranteeing that they're not saving, in a security sense, that their app is very secure. So we know that they're not saving any passwords on this app. They're not saving anything to your phone. This is a truly real application that they're in the cloud, you know? So we know that database is also in the cloud. So really, there's two layers of choke points here. But now we also know that people are registering. People are signing up. I'm able to log in. I'm able to register. But what is not happening is people aren't getting emails in a timely sense. So that's the issue here, you know?
And that's where the current choke point is on emails.
Exactly.
But the original choke point wasn't that.
What do you believe the original choke point was?
I think they got DDoSed.
DDoS for how long?
I would say that's the thing. I'm not 100% sure. I don't have access to the logs.
Okay, you don't have access to the log, but we know that when Saitama first launched, they told us they were going to give us an update within 24 hours. After launch, cryptologists went on a space almost 4 or 5 hours later when we were supposed to get the update at 9:30, and he said, hey, we're suffering a DDoS attack, and we've turned on AWS WAF and AWS Shield, which are two layers of DDoS protection. Do you agree?
Yeah.
And they admitted that 4 hours after launch. So now my question to you is, once you've turned on AWS WAF and AWS Shield, are you still telling me that they were suffering a DDoS attack, Moonshot?
I don't think after that, probably not. But I do.
So that is 4 hours after launch, Moonshot. That is 4 hours after launch.
But I do know that they didn't come back live with their main servers. They actually
you were
they had shut
basically
everything down.
validating exactly what I was saying. I don't understand why you're not completely agreeing with me, but like everything that you've said just now tells you that there is something else going on. Maybe the choke point isn't the Amazon layer. Maybe there is a bug on the Saitamask itself, and that is something they're not being transparent with us, because we know AWS could not be the choke point. There are so many services in AWS, Moonshot, that their goal is to make you succeed. You're telling me that Saitamask using AWS and AWS is having all these bugs is our choke point. Their servers can't handle that heat. They're using Lightsail. They would not be using Lightsail.
No,
Lightsail is such,
I was saying there's
Sure.
many levels of AWS, including Lightsail, which is the most basic
Correct.
of the AWS services that are web-based.
Yes, but you understand my point, right? Like what I'm trying to tell you is the choke point cannot be the AWS architecture layer. It now is past this. We are now past SES. We're now past SQS. We're now past WAF, Shield.
And we know that we're past those points because they've said we're past those points.
Exactly.
But here's the thing too. I also know when they came back online, it wasn't their main server that was connecting to the app. It went back to test mode. It went back to the test servers.
They had to roll back. You were going to tell me that they're going to continue to use production servers after Amazon just shut them down. They have to roll back. They have to make the app look like, literally, I've been in this exact situation happened to me. I was working for a company and we rolled out an app that was getting 800,000 concurrent users. On the day of rollout, I forgot to tell Amazon that I was going to have this much concurrent users at that time. And you know what Amazon did to me on that Friday? They shut me down. They shut my SES down. And I'm in a situation where my CEO is expecting an answer from me. And I'm like, dude, I don't know what to tell you because I'm not going to get the response from Amazon from this. So what do I do during this state? I can't lose all these trusted customers visiting back to my app, because the end goal is I want users to come back to the app, right?
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, so this is the situation that I myself suffered, and I completely feel for Saitama team. I want Saitama to succeed. I'm holding them. But this is the thing. Their narrative has been transparency. When 3 days after this DDoS attack, 4 hours after they turned on the WAF and they've turned on the shield, they're telling us they're still suffering a DDoS attack, and their community manager, their leadership is telling us this. That's where I start to worry, because I'm an AWS expert. I have this experience and I know when I'm being lied to. I have won 2 hackathons. I've legit participated in AWS hackathons and tried to win. And I've won 2. Do you know how hard it is to win a hackathon? And these guys are telling me that this app of less than 300,000 concurrent users is having this many issues. The issue is not AWS. And that's really what I'm trying to say. I don't care about the Saitama dev team lying, as in the bugs that are happening in the app. I want them to be transparent on that. I really want to know what's the issue, because it's not AWS. And if you keep telling me it's AWS, that's when I know it's a lie. Do you agree with me there?
Yeah, and that's the thing. If we're we both agree that we're past the original DDoS attack, right?
Yes.
We both agree. We both agree that there is now another issue.
Yes.
Right. And we know it's on the email side, because we've had reports coming back from people who got a link for their activation 2 days, 3 days late.
Yes.
Yeah.
So now, being an investor, right? I'm an investor in Saitama. I know Saitama is all about transparency, and I am a Saitama fanboy. I retweet Russ. I look at Russ. If you look at my Twitter, I'm just constantly I love Saitama. I need Saitama to succeed, right? It's why weren't they transparent at the time we needed them to be transparent the most, and just be like, guys, we found this issue and this is the thing. When you start lying and you put this narrative of this is the issue, and you have I'm not the only IT guy. Moonshot, you're not the only IT guy. How many IT guys are picking up and saying, hey, this is a real thing, and people are bringing us down? People are saying, do you know how many messages I have on Twitter going, Teddy, you don't know what you're talking about. You don't know AWS. You have no credentials. Guys, this isn't something that you need to have 30 years of experience. This is something where the cloud computing world is less than 10, 11 years old. It's not even that old. And experts are like, what? You need to have 10,000 hours to become an expert. And what's really hard is becoming an expert of all things. And when you're talking about a layer like AWS, they are not a company that's trying to make everyone fail. They have experts across the field to make you succeed. So this is the narrative that AWS pushes. Hey, we have 95% uptime. If any of our service goes below 95% availability, they give you back 100% of the bill. I have shown this in my own YouTube channel. The SLA, service level agreements on AWS, is phenomenal. Like, this is the reason people use AWS, you know?
And we have to make it clear too, like on AWS, 90% of the internet runs on it, for God's sakes.
Absolutely. Moonshot, you are validating everything that I am saying, sir, and I really appreciate you. This is the exact reason, because I am now at the point that I know AWS isn't layer, and you're agreeing with me there. I believe now they're suffering the authentication and authorization layer. Every time you open the app, it closes immediately. That's really what speaks to me next. Eventually, they'll figure it out. And I really hope the success, because I think they're headed in the right direction. Everything that I would do as a developer, if I'm in the same situation as Max, and I live very close to Max, I'm in Boston, Massachusetts. Holler at me if you ever need anything. But regardless, I feel like this is so simple that they just need to be transparent and be like, these are the exact things. These are the bugs. When you look at the release notes that are released in the App Store or the Play Store, they're so bland. What's with the one bullet point, release? It's like, hey, you know that Certic has said your commenting and your delivery of the code is not 100%. They gave them 3 out of 5 bars, right? So it's like, this is the point where you want to adapt and continue to be better. And I'm not docking Max. I love Max. I want Max to succeed. All I'm just saying is that transparency that they initially had is slowly fading away. And instead of hiding in the lies, I just want them to be transparent. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I think there's another side to that too, and we were actually talking about this a little bit earlier. Not sure if you were in here for this, but one of the issues that they know that they have is that communications, because there's so many devs kind of at play. You have Gabriel, he's overdoing his media stuff. You have, Elon and Nam and Russ and all this stuff. And I think a lot of it comes down to that, Russ gets told something and he goes with it, right? And I feel like that communication does need to be better, period, with Saitama. And I know Russ has had a frustrating time. There's no question with everything they've been through, but yeah, no, I totally get it.
I appreciate you, Moonshot. And really, that's when I heard you were saying these things. I completely agree with you, man, if that was the situation. But from what we know today, and, the validation points that you agree on with as well, I mean, like, the writing is on the wall. We know what's next. We know this app needs to succeed. This is not the last app Max or his team is going to make. Max and his team is going to be in multiple projects, guys. I'm a developer. I've been every single title in the book, from architect to solutions architect to like data modeling, right? Senior developer, whatever it may be. But my projects never end. Just because you have a speed bump, just because you have like a block in one app, you're going to continue to succeed. You're going to build more apps. I've now failed so many times, but I've succeeded even more times because I've learned from my failures. That's what's going to happen to Saitama, and they're going to succeed. They're going to get through these speed bumps. They know how to launch an app with this many concurrent users. Every other app they make, you think they're going to make the same mistakes? No, it's only going to get better. So they're doing exactly from an investor standpoint what they want them to do. But my issue was they weren't being transparent and flat out lying to us that they were suffering, quote, a multi-day DDoS attack, which we know, as you've said, if they turned on WAF and Shield within 4 hours, there's no way they were suffering that.
Do you mind if I hop in here and ask a question?
Sorry, sure, Chad, this is your show, bud.
You guys are talking in a different language right now. I'm sure there's some people who get it, but yeah. Anyways, so when you say the devs were lying, do you mean in the sense lying by omission, or are you talking about a deliberate, we know we aren't telling the truth type scenario?
I feel like they know they weren't telling the truth, because when Saitamask went live, we hear Russ went, hey, Max, people are saying in the YouTube chat that people are having issues, network connection issues. And Max goes right on his cell phone and goes, no, it's working for me. Must be something with something else. It's working for me. And then, guys, they cut the stream 9 minutes after going live. What kind of go live have you seen where they cut the stream 9 minutes after going live? Clearly, at this point, Max knew there was an issue, because this has happened to me. I've gone live and I've seen the app fail, and it took me a good 15 minutes to just tell myself that, dude, I failed, and I need to, suck it up, and I need to figure it out and fix it. And this was exactly what I was seeing as I was watching Max, and I'm like, I've been there. I know what's happening, and it's the saddest feeling, but I know he's going to get over this. You know what I mean?
So you just had to. So you think he'd cut the live short to just go fix it with recognizing, oh crap, something's going on here?
I absolutely agree. He had to check back with his team. If he is at the level that he's at, he must have developers working under him that are also doing grunt work. It's very rare someone at the level that Max is at is also coding at every single layer. And if that is a fail point, because if anything happens to Max, we're screwed, right? So you always want to disperse your developers.
He's got a full software house.
So yeah, he had to go back to his team, understand, hey guys, what are you seeing? What's happening? Once he has the narrative from them, that's the narrative he has to push. Maybe he learned the real narrative and he's in a situation where he has to say something else, but that's speculation. I don't know what that is, but I know that there was a lie, and that lie involved AWS, and I'm a big AWS fanboy, more than Saitama. I love Amazon Web Services. Every single thing I do in my career is AWS, so I know they can't lie to me about this. I've legit have AWS's praise. I've been there in the show. They brought me up on stage, like, you can't lie to me about AWS, basically.
Damn, I wish I could contribute more to the conversation.
Chad, by the way, I thank you for having me. I legit started in this YouTubing world. Like, I made my own YouTube channel because I watched other YouTubers such as Rodney from My Crypto Journey.
Yep.
I'm now hearing about you. The same degen gang seems to be watching you. So they told me, hey, Teddy, Chad Reddings is doing something and you need to get on there and talk to these guys, because like they say this and they're kind of saying, the opposite of you. And now we know, now that me and Moonshot have talked, hey, we're kind of saying the same thing. So we know where the project is headed. We know it's in the right direction. So it's a great conversation. I'm really glad that we agree on those points from an IT perspective.
So are you saying, so you're still bullish on Saitama, right? It was just a little bit of a hiccup there, and you just want to see a little bit more transparency?
All I want, this is the thing. I either want transparency or I want no transparency, like Shiba devs do, right? Like, either tell me when there's an update, but stop. And this is the thing. From this AMA, we learned that Russ is done with YouTube shillers. So like YouTube shilling, meaning like he's done going to Scott Herman, Zach Humphreys, Austin Hilton, all the big YouTubers to do this stuff and pay them, right? He's no longer going to push narratives from the YouTube community. No point in trying to gather information there. He said all new information is going to come from the Saitama official account. So don't even listen to representatives of Saitama. You have to listen and get your information from the Saitama official accounts. So one, as a company, when I'm a startup and I'm trying to enterprise myself and sustain myself, these are the actions I do. I have one flow of information. These are where you're going to get your facts. Don't care what these YouTubers are saying. This is what's happening. So when I see these things as an investor and they're doing the right things as a company, this gives me even more of a bullish feel that, hey, they're going to succeed. Saitamask is going to finish. And if it doesn't, then we know Max has failed, right? If Saitamask doesn't work, we know the team has failed. And you can make all the delusional comments you want. But if you're a developer, you're going to do everything you want to succeed. If you don't even get to the first phase, they've already called in outsourcing. They've called in a third-party vendor. They're going to make this app succeed. Russ has invested his time. There's 300,000 people backing up. He has to succeed. So once that success comes, why wouldn't the price go up, right? Like, do you agree there, Chad?
That the price, yeah, absolutely. I mean, as long as, Saitamask is really the first big project that they've released, kind of adding utility to the project. So certainly, especially with the pairings that they've included on there, certainly provides incentive to hold Saitama. So I feel like this is just the beginning. It's going to be years down the line with the blockchain and the games and all that stuff. But overall, I really like the project.
Yeah, me too. See, this is exactly why I'm bullish, because no matter how much you think I'm spreading FUD or not, all I'm trying to do is prevent the FUD that's being spread on AWS, because as a project, that makes us look silly. Being here, being an AWS expert, and I'm willing to say expert, I've spent thousands of hours in this platform, guys. And to say and use that as an excuse for 4 days of trying to tell us this narrative is just dumb. Like, you sound so foolish from a technology standpoint. And that was my issue with that. But now, after this last AMA, I'm feeling good. I feel like they've literally owned up to it. And as Moonshot said, this is very plausible. They have suffered a 1-day DDoS attack. In that 4 hours before they turned on WAF and they turned on Shield, they could have gone through their entire IT budget because of the network traffic coming through that network. Do you agree there, Moonshot?
Oh yeah, because with AWS, okay, let's break it down a little easier for people to understand.
Sure.
With AWS, you're paying per service basically. You're paying. You're not given a monthly bill. You're given an allotment basically, so it can scale up and down basically. So yeah, they could blow through a budget pretty quick.
Yeah, that's exactly what I feel could have happened. They probably blew through the budget, and that was one of the issues that also happened where, hey, AWS could have given a soft block on them and been like, go fix your stuff. Once it fixed it, turned everything back on, it could have done even more,
Well, and you look at it too. I mean, 4 high-end services, all load balancing together. I mean, that's not cheap stuff.
No, it is not. But would you trust it? I would rather have an app spend thousands of dollars on infrastructure rather than tell me that, hey, my app is only $300 to run and it's great,
Yeah, no, exactly. If your app is $300 to run, you're aiming for failure.
Exactly. So what else, Chad? Tell me more. I'm very intrigued. I've never been on your YouTube, man.
If you're invested in TARP, I don't.
Am I invested in TARP, the rug pull?
Yeah, TARP, yeah.
I am waiting. To be honest with you, I could not figure out the pancake. I'm very new to the finance world of things. I know like the other stuff, but like I cannot figure out how to buy TARP. So I'm waiting for Saitamask to list TARP so I can buy it on Saitamask.
Sounds good. Well, we'll be happy to have you on. Now, awesome. just a quick question for you. If we have any questions for you, as we're kind of scaling up our stuff, what's your company?
I work in the healthcare background. Literally, I'm an AWS consultant. I could release my company. I will give you my LinkedIn, Moonshot, if that's what you want.
That'd be fine. Just a way to contact you.
I will start off with my background started in Accenture. It is a consulting company. I started off as a technical consultant. I moved up to the manager role. From the manager role, I went to a different company. And what I worked for is the Affordable Care Act. When I got hired by Accenture, this was around the time Obamacare was being rolled out. Once it was rolled out, I was using a system called the Accenture Benefit Management System. And using that system, we rolled out to all the state exchanges and delivered the Affordable Care Act, right? And some exchanges decided to do make their own exchange. I was more of the government federal exchange program. So I realized, hey, there are faults in Obamacare. I need to move out. I went to private healthcare, more specifically reimbursement and HCPCS reimbursement places. And what this tells you is like there is a fault in the healthcare industry that when you go and you get in a hospital setting, you get drugs injected to you, or you have an operation done, you do not know how much you have to pay in services when you go to that hospital. So what my company does is try to give you rates on the medicine that they use in there, from the insulin to whatever they need to administer during that surgery process. So I help in that layer. If you want specific like doxed information, I do 100% send me your stuff. I'll give you my LinkedIn. I'll give you my social media. I'll give you everything you need to validate that I 100% know what I'm talking about. This is a question that the community has come after me, and they're like, oh, this guy doesn't know. And Rodney has done a great job. He's shown the social media. He's shown the actual video I took on Instagram, Teddy_Ganja. You can see my AWS when I won. You see the certificate there. You can even see my second win from AWS just this past year in December. Legit. Like, this is my area of expertise. I love AWS. My company sends me to AWS reInvent every year. I worked for them for 6 years, and they continue to send me there because when I first dove into it 6 years ago, I was a developer. Now I understand most of these AWS services, that when it comes to the app layer, the mobile app layer, web applications, service layer, database layer, because I got to participate in so many other AWS projects with the amount of, applications that they develop, that I'm just like, I love this area.
Yeah, let's be honest, it's the biggest thing in tech basically ever.
It's
wild
either
stuff.
what, banking and financial or healthcare. These are really the two domains, the main domains that are going to be sustainable at the end, you know?
Yeah.
They ain't going anywhere. There you go.
Yeah.
Well, I hate to be the bearer of bad news. Well, first off, I really appreciate you coming on The Crypto Future. That's your name, correct?
Yeah, that's my channel, The Crypto Future. I really appreciate you for having me, Chad. I know it was crazy. All your fans were telling you to get me on there. I appreciate you listening to them. And to the fans, I appreciate you guys. Subscribe to Chad Reddings. He is spreading truth because he got me on there. He's one of the only YouTubers to do this. So I really appreciate it, Chad. And I hope you get more likes and subscribes and that people actually listen and learn that, hey, before you make an investment, learn the knowledge, maybe understand what's being told to you, and know when to be asking questions. You know, that's what we're doing here.
Yeah, definitely. I appreciate, I'm all about hearing the other side. That's why I liked the crypto journey as well, because, you can always follow the crowd that's only ever going to say things positive. I like hearing the other side, though, which is why I liked his channel. And it's nice to, as long as people are respectful and stuff, I'm totally all for it. But appreciate having you on. I couldn't find your YouTube channel though. I was gonna give you a little shout out. But...
I did a little chat in the thing. I typed in the chat, so you can link it from there. I don't have enough clicks where the YouTube channel comes up right when you search for it. So you're gonna have to go through that way.
Oh, okay.
That's the fun side, right?
Yeah, I'll give it to you right now.
That's the fun side of YouTube, trying to get all the verification stuff going.
Yeah, SEO, right? SEO is the hardest part of this entire community, because SEO is what makes you move up in rankings, and it's the worst thing. Google deals with it. I now deal with it on YouTube and Twitter. It's crazy.
Well, and the funny thing is with YouTube, a lot of people don't know this, but tags used to be the thing. It was you had to have the right tags, right? Mm-hmm. And now tags don't really mean anything. They're like keywords on a website now.
Exactly. All right, guys, thanks for having me. I don't want to hold up your time and your stream. I really appreciate you both, and great conversation. Moonshot, I don't know anything about you. Find me on Twitter. I don't know, man. Whatever validation you need, I will give you everything. I'm a very nice guy. So really, I have.
I'll reach out and we'll be happy to accept you over at TARP when you're ready.
Awesome, man. I appreciate it. Good luck, guys.
All right, thanks. Have a good one.
Bye.
See you. Respectful conversation. I love it.
Yeah, that's cool. It was nice to hear, despite not really understanding most of it. It was nice to hear a different side to the story. I don't know if you...
I know it went over a lot of people's heads.
Yeah. To all the techies out there, I hope you enjoyed that. Did you learn anything from that Moonshot, or was that...
A certain amount of stuff. I mean, so here's the problem, right? I'm so busy with TARP. I'm not fully paying attention to all the AMAs and all the stuff. I didn't know they had turned on all the DDoS protection side of AWS. And, obviously, I mean, it makes sense. And there would have been panic at that point also in the office. You have to remember there's emotions involved as well. So it's one of those things that, it's a tough road to go down. And at the end of the day, my heart breaks for, Max and the team, because that's not a fun week to go through.
Yeah, that's must have been one stressful week. I'm sure it kind of is right now still. They're still doing the rollouts across the different regions and stuff, right?
Yeah, and the one thing I will say, and I really appreciate this from Max, is when stuff like this is happening during development, during stuff like that, if he was really busy, I knew he was in a busy time, I gave him space, right? Mm-hmm. I want to make sure I'm not bugging him. I don't want to flood his head with ideas. I don't want to flood his head with, other things that are being brought to me. And I just kind of step back and let him do his thing. And he, during this, he did take time to reach out to me, and I appreciate that from him.